Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me for pricing. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing one of my all-time favorite watches, launched in 1985 at the Basel Fair. This was IWC's resounding statement of confidence in the mechanical watch market, going upscale and complicated at a time when quartz still seemed like the wave of the future and possibly the end of mechanical watchmaking. So, recapitulating its commitment to high mech and high tech, provided it has a heartbeat, IWC launched the Da Vinci Perpetual Calendar Chronograph 3750 with a perpetual calendar module by Kurt Klaus and designed by Hanno Bürtscher. It was a watch that kept IWC in the game at the top end of the market, in a place where really only the likes of the Holy Trinity were playing at the time. This watch is packed with features. It's also unusual. It has Vendôme-style lugs, so from end to end, there is some variability in how the lugs move and how they can be considered spaced, but if you compress them completely, the total distance across the wrist is only 45.5 millimeters. The watch is 14.8 millimeters thick, thanks to a domed plexi that allows the crystal to clear all of those stacked hands. It is 39 millimeters in diameter, and you can see that spring bars are used on the bottom, and it's a 19 millimeter lug spacing. This watch is all kinds of idiosyncratic. The design was considered the height of sophistication back in the go-go 1980s, and as a result today, they're a little bit offbeat. It's definitely a connoisseur's watch. It's for the kind of person who would, for example, prefer a smaller watch over a bigger watch, or a weird watch over a normal watch, or a vintage watch over a new watch. Someone who has a highly refined taste, knows what he likes, and understands history, and every watch's place in history. This watch was a landmark for IWC in the industry. You could see with a sort of triple-stepped profile, though it's not thin, it will slide under a dress cuff, and being super short from side to side, I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. Again, my wrist is 16. Taking a look at the strap, it's medium rectangular scale alligator leather, semi-gloss finish, light brown. There is a monotone stitch, a sheer cut side showing you the layers of leather. We have black calfskin on the back, no crimping, no gouging, brand new IWC factory strap. We have here the original IWC folding clasp, IWC Schaffhausen. It is a friction fit, snap shut. And then we roll to the case, and the first thing you can see is that this is a very old school watch, not just in the use of the Vendôme lugs, but in the fact that the hallmarking is all done laterally on the side of the lugs rather than their underside or the back of the case. So that's old school, though you can see that this is a 1995 and later hallmark, so this one wouldn't have been made between 85 and 95 just by that St. Bernard diamond style stamp. That's what that is. That's a dog's head. Prior to that, it had been a woman's head, and that's how you know the rough era of this watch. This Gadroon style domed or fluted case band, I guess you could call this a sort of flange. This was very chic at the time. It was thought to evoke Cartier. And then in order to fit over all these stacked hands, a dive watch style plexiglass was used. So you could see it has that weird off-axis distortion that you get with a thermoplastic. While the watch is only 30 meters water resistant, because there is a very low geared and fast setting quick set for the Kurt Klaus perpetual calendar system, IWC opted for a screw-down crown so you couldn't accidentally advance it. So we have mushroom-style pump pushers, and this being vintage at this point, you can see it does have an unbranded crown, which was considered to be very sophisticated and chic at the time. The watch with a white lacquered dial, it's more of a matte white than a gloss white. What really sets it apart here is that it is a German language calendar, very appropriate since IWC of Schaffhausen is a natively German-speaking watch brand. Most of the watchmaking in Switzerland is in the French regions in the west, but in the northeast of the country, IWC Schaffhausen is one of only a couple of watch brands operating in that region. So it's appropriate this should be a perpetual calendar with German language calendar indications. This is a tritium dial. You can see at the base of the dial, T, and you can see that although there is a faint glow initially, it fades very quickly. Both hands and indices here, original factory tritium, and they have a wonderful tritium fade patina. You'll appropriately notice that this watch has a little bit of a richer moon phase, and if you look carefully, you'll know what I mean when I say you'll notice the twinkle of aventurine glass, a very sophisticated moon phase display. We also have a cam-operated oscillating pinion clutch chronograph system, and you can see how I pushed the crown down and there was no jump to the seconds hand. Even though an oscillating pinion is a type of lateral clutch, it has less play in it. So it gives you the beauty of a lateral clutch and the tradition of a lateral clutch, but also less play on activation. That is here because every 7750 base or 7750 architecture has an oscillating pinion, and this 79261 caliber is 7750 based, but the sophistication and the minimal play means that high horology brands as disparate as De Bethune, Richard Mille, F. Pigeon, they're revisiting the oscillating pinion today for their lateral clutch chronographs. The quality of the cam tuning here is also world-class. It's as crisp as a column wheel. Now, it is a unidirectional automatic winder with a 44-hour power reserve. Take note, back then, display case backs were the deal, and I love the International Watch Co. script, which you'll find on the reverse of the case. So we have a hacking seconds function, so you can stop the seconds and set it to a reference time. But we also have watchmaker Kurt Klaus's legendary coordinated perpetual calendar. So as I make adjustments, you see how the date moves forward, but watch the moon phase. The day, the date, the month, the moon phase, even the year and the decade will jump forward in coordinated fashion. So if the watch stops for a week, you just pick it up, wind it, set the time, and jump forward 7 days, just as you would on a quick-set Rolex with the date. It is super simple. It is designed to be foolproof, so you never have to look up the current calendar. And in particular, when setting the moon phase, that's a real help, so you don't have to worry about setting the moon phase, which can be difficult to do by eye. Now, it's a perpetual calendar, which means it doesn't need to be touched until the year 2100. Leap years, irregular length months, not a problem. This calendar can handle them. The moon phase works a little bit differently. You set it, and then you don't have to touch it until 122 years later. So, in short, you're set. The movement, of course, is a 7750 base, but immensely modified by IWC. Typically, the regulator, the train, the power source, the addition of the complications, just about everything plus in-house regulation to 5 or 6 positions, probably 6 on a watch like this. That is all performed. They basically make the movement theirs. What's left is the unidirectional winding, the cam system, the oscillating pinion, and features like the 44-hour power reserve, the 4 Hz beat rate. With the additional complications, we have a 39-jewel assemble, a very impressive watch inside and out, one of my favorite IWCs of all time. Go ahead, try to find a perpetual calendar chronograph from Patek Philippe that you can buy for this money. I didn't think so. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.